children during Ramadan. Again, we will have our classes online throughout Ramadan, and then we will have our face-to-face and activities after Raya. So, as for now, how many? In what chapter are we currently?
Just unutilized crop.
Underutilized crop, huh? All right. So class rep, make sure you took the attendance for today. Okay. All right. Where can I share the screen? Okay. Can you see my slide, everyone?
Yes.
Yes, Doctor.
All right. Okay. So in our previous encounter, we have discussed and shared about underutilized crop. Okay, so up to now, we know that there are so many other type of crop out there aside from the one that's currently being cultivated, that currently being used in our industry or by in our surrounding. Aside from the well-known vegetables, well-known fruits, well-known medicines, herbs, well-known fiber resources, there are actually a lot more other crop species out there. Okay, and they fall under the category of underutilized with several other synonyms. Either we call it the lost crops, ancient crops, heirloom seeds, and then so many other names. Okay, but to symbolize that they were actually lesser known or forgotten for now. However, taking into account all these not well-known crop species from previous study, so we know that we are actually have a very diverse industry, all right? So that we can start to gauge the vastness of agriculture, of crop science, in fact, of crops utilization in agriculture itself. Okay, and of course, even though we are talking about crop, from time to time, we cannot avoid from associating them with other kingdoms of organisms, like animals, like insects, aves, fishes, because for certain crop, they require mutualism or symbiosis with other type of organisms. Okay, ecologically speaking, some crops need the support of other species. All right. So all of this actually give us the idea of the meaning of agrobiodiversity, the diversity, of agriculture related sources or resources. As of today, and I'm sure you have undergone your presentation last week. And as of today, we're going to look at what, as the title suggested, which is future crops. Okay, from all the exploration that have been done by all of you under the topic of underutilized crop, I'm sure you have come upon certain crop species that actually have a very good attributes, have very good characteristics, have very good advantage and benefits. All of this advantage, benefit, uses, importance, we can call them as potential. Potential, meaning that a lot of underutilized crop actually have potentials in one way or another. So this potential is for what? So what are the uses? What's the point of knowing this potential, of knowing underutilized crop? It's actually for us to foresee or to make projection about the future. As you all know, all of you also now under the phase, okay? UPM graduate, okay? It should be what we call future-proof graduates, because the future is very uncertain. The current world is full of variables that is very hard to tackle. But because of that, okay, we need to prepare our graduate to be future-proof. We will equip you with all the skill needed so that whatever the future might hold for you, you might be able to tackle it, to face it, to tread upon it, and to succeed in it. All right, the same with our food security issues, the same with agriculture. And the core of our agriculture, okay, nowadays is still the crops, okay, as the staple food. So it is our job, okay, to screen through, to look through all the underutilized crop and other inside the agro biodiversity, and then to come out with a suggestion, okay, for the future. So this is what we call future crops. So future crop topic is actually a continuation from the previous topic. All right. So we are actually looking for something like this. Okay. If we talk about imaginary characters of fiction, yes, Superman. Okay. Can be said as something that very strong. Okay. Can face all sorts of challenges in the previous era, in the current modern world, or toward the future. Like Superman, the same goes with our agriculture commodity. We need to find candidates that could withstand the challenge of time and could be of use to us toward the future. So if we look back, okay, if we look through the literature, okay, now we are talking about, I'm sure all of you have heard the issue of food security. Okay, there might be not enough food currently for certain countries. And with the population growth happen at a very fast rate, okay, we are very worried that we won't have enough food in the future. And aside from the population growth, food security is also threatened by diseases, by natural disaster, or even geopolitical issues like war. For example, what happened if World War III happened? Certain countries that do not produce their own food might not have enough food to feed their people. Look at the natural disasters that happen because of the global warming. Nowadays, we got a very uncertain weather. Look like the phenomena such as El Nino or La Nina. Look at the changing of seasons nowadays. It changed in a very complicated ways. Sometimes rainy seasons become a drought season. And sometimes a drought season will have rain upon it. And look at the places. Look at the condition of places. Certain places that used to be desert in previous decade now might become a jungle. And certain places that used to be known for a large green jungle now might have become a desert. So all of this variable, okay, will threaten and affect our food security issues, our food production. And this scenario or these cases, okay, becomes more severe if we look at the data at hand. So if you look at my slide in front of you, 2/3 of the world's food supply are actually relying on only 4 crops: wheat, maize, rice, and soybean. These 4 crops make up 2/3 of the world food supply. You know, 2/3 of the world. depends on only 4 crops. Because we become so specialized, we become over commercialized. Okay? Because we think to be in the modern world, we need to have big corporation, big plantation, big factories. Thus, we already let go our ancestors' way of living. Okay, which is living with the environment. If we look at our ancestor, okay, my great grandparents, or maybe in certain countries, they still practice that. Normally, the third world or developing country, in certain places in Malaysia, maybe in the rural areas or in Africa. Okay, but we can consider that it's a very little. But in the previous generation, our great grandfathers, okay, what they practice is that they practice mixed cropping, meaning that a family will keep some chicken, pigs, cow. They produce their own rice, small scale rice, just to feed their family. They planted vegetables. They got coconut trees beside the house. So all the foods were produced. All the food to sustain the family life were produced by themselves. Everything. And to get the fish protein, okay, the grandfather will go and fish from the river, meaning to say that they sustain themselves, okay, with all the production in their surrounding. However, as we go through the modern world, through the millennials, okay, we go to specialization economy, okay, where one person must have one job or specialize in one thing. For example, I become a lecturer. I don't have time to plant my own food. Okay, the economy has been specialized. And if I did not get food from the farmers, then I will die. Okay? Example of over-specialized economy. And because of that, the task to produce food was left to a handful of people. And they become big corporations. They produce in mass scale. And they abandon mixed cropping. They go for what we call monocropping. Because of that, okay, the number or the diversity of food crops shrink. All these big corporations, they just focus on 1 or 2 types of crops only. Look at Malaysia. Okay, when you want to land that from the aeroplane, you can see, as far as eyes can see, the oil palm plantation. All right, we focus on that. So we bulldoze all other places. We put oil palm, we put rubber. So certain crop become very big, and the rest will be lost, become underutilized or forgotten crop. The same goes with our food crop. Okay, before, in the early dawn of civilization of human, okay, each of us might eat different type of food. Each country have their own crops that they rely upon. But with globalization, with commercialization, modernization, everyone start to share the same type of food. And this is the result. So currently in the world, 2/3 of the world population rely on only 4 types of crops. And as we know, okay, let's take a look at another slide. And actually, if we look closely around the world, there are actually between 300,000 and 500,000 plant species. Okay, estimately, okay, in estimation, there's around 300 to 500,000 plant species. And out of 500,000 plant species, 50,000 species are edible. And out of 50,000 edible plant species, 7,000 plants have been cultivated for human consumption. Meaning that there used to be 7,000 plants that have been cultivated throughout human history. However, today, all right, fewer than 20 crops account for more than 90% of global food production. Imagine, okay, in the days of dinosaurs or in the days of our ancestors in the early of our evolutionary trees, okay, we eat anything that we can eat edibles because we got around 300 to 500,000 plant species. Out of it, 50,000 is edible. 50,000 plant species actually can be eaten. And out of this, 7,000 have been planted for food. But because of all the factors that I mentioned earlier, now 90% of the global food production rely on only less than 20 crops. Can you imagine how many species has been forgotten? How many species have been forsaken? And out of these 20, less than 20 crops that account to 90% of the global food production, three major crops, rice, wheat, and maize, represent 60% of the world's 7 billion denizen energy. Okay, just now four. Okay, in the previous slide, four crops account to 2/3 of world population. But this data, okay, in terms of percentage, all right, these three is actually representing 60%, okay, of the world energy. Imagine we rely on three crops. And what happened if something were to happen to this crop? Okay, so is it possible for things to happen across the world? Yes. You are the generation that have witnessed how a pandemic could happen. How one disease spread all over the world and kill people rampagely all over the world. In a blink of an eye, within 2 years. The same thing could happen to other species of biological organisms, including our food. So you can imagine, maybe suddenly a type of new diseases, okay, emerge to attack rice. And then the whole rice production in the world got affected, become a pandemic. And we lost rice. If we lost rice, wheat, and maize, imagine 60% of the world will starve to death. Is there any other cases for reference? Yes, Malaysia has its own history of this. Look at cocoa in Peninsular Malaysia. During my childhood, I still can find cocoa orchard in my villages. Maybe nowadays you can still find cocoa plants in Peninsular Malaysia, but not many. But before 1980s, cocoa is a big industry all over Malaysia. That's why we have Malaysian Cocoa Board. But during the 80s, cocoa plants or cocoa crops or cocoa industry in Malaysia have been attacked by cocoa pod borer, a type of pest. They eat the cocoa pod. And this cocoa pod borer wiped out the entire industry from Peninsular Malaysia. And nowadays, Malaysia only have cocoa production in industrial scale at Sabah only. We only have Sabah Cocoa Board in Borneo. But look at Peninsular Malaysia, the whole industry died. Just because one pest. Okay? So this could happen. Furthermore, all this pig production, they normally use one type of clone or varieties. So meaning that they have the same immunity level and everything. If a disease comes that can kill one plant, it could kill million plants. If it could wipe out 1 meter plot, it could wipe out 1 million hectares plot. Okay, so this is the risk that we are talking about. Okay. So the challenge, the risk to this might come from diseases, might come from pests, and don't forget the climate change. Aside from the natural disaster and the geopolitical issues, the risk to the food production or food security comes also from the climate change. As an example, in this slide, you look at the climate change or the global warming. Okay. So according to the prediction by Malaysian Second National Communication, okay, by 2050, this is the Malaysian case. We take it as a case study or example. By 2050, overall temperature of Malaysia will rise by at least 2 centigrade, 2 degrees Celsius. Look small, isn't it? But increment by 2 centigrade will wipe out some of our local plant species. Okay, an example based on the projection and research. Okay, by 2050, because of the climate change, production of corn and rice will drop. Corn will drop by 24% and rice will drop by 11%. The population is growing. We need more food. But global warming, the temperature also rising. And the global warming and the rise of temperature will actually decrease the food production. So this is the scenario that we are facing. Because why? Because we rely on certain crop only as our food source. We do not diversify. Okay, we do not diversify. Okay. And not only food crop. Look at industrial crop. Malaysia relies on oil palm, for example. Not only Malaysia, several other Southeast Asian countries. All right. So under climate change, oil palm will grow, but they won't have any fruit set. And as we know, we need the fruit. The fruit is the valuable part that produces oil from oil palm. And that's become the income for our countries. And a lot of our farmers, Peneroka, in the settlers in Felda, they rely on oil palm prices. But because of global warming, by 2050, oil palm might not be fruiting. What will happen to our economy? What will happen to the livelihood of the oil palm planters, smallholders in the villages? Not only in Malaysia, in Southeast Asia, and now oil palms will be planted in Africa and Latin America. So these are the risks that we are facing, realizing or not. Okay, so because we rely on a handful of crop species, we do not diversify. Okay, so there's so many things we need to tackle here. How to solve this? Because if anything were to happen to this major crop, we call it, or the staples of the world, we might be in a very dire crisis. So meaning that is either we diversify the food or we must have candidates to replace them. We must always get ready with a backup. So what are the backup crops that we could bring toward the future? Okay, if something were to happen to rice, what are the backup as a source of carbohydrate? Okay, what about industry? What about our fiber sources for our clothes, textile, buildings, furnitures? Okay, what about the rubber source for tires? Okay, yes, we can say that we can use synthetic one. But any of you want to eat plastic now? Maybe in 100 years or 1,000 years from now, we don't need food. We eat plastic, I think, or minerals, or just pills extract from the mine. But I can foresee that in the next 100 or 200 years, we still need food. So what are the candidates? Do we have the backup plans? So this is the job of this class, to look at the backup plans. So that's why this topic is about finding the future crops, the Superman that will lead us or that will ensure and assure us that there is a future for human species. If not, we will become like planets of the apes or planets of the viruses. So, solution. Okay. So what are the solution, how to find the future crops. Crop that can give us assurance, that can secure the future of humankind. So there's several approaches. Maybe plant breeding, we can improve the crop so that's what we have been doing. New disease come in, then we quickly improve the crop. Okay, new pests come to attack our rice, then we create a new type of rice. Yeah, that's what we've been doing. But is it really secure? We need to see about it and evaluate. Or maybe genetic engineering. Maybe we need to change a little bit. Maybe the rice, we change the genetic to become, I don't know, become poisonous so that the insect won't eat them. But how can we adapt to it? Maybe the answers in a future crop, you need to have a cyborg plant through genetic engineering. I'm sure, do we have friends from biotech here? No? Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So maybe biotech people, this is your job and task. Okay. During my time, genetic engineering, like sequencing and everything, is actually a topic in my course at that time. Before it blew up, become a biotech field, and then you have your own faculty. So now become your task maybe. Okay, how to improve the crops? Maybe by genetic engineering, or maybe we need to look back to the wilds. Okay, maybe we need to find a naturally resistant or naturally new candidate from the wild, from the jungles. Maybe there's some species that we do not see before, or this is what the previous topic is all about. Okay, maybe there are. Okay, the answer is the underutilized crops that's been forgotten before because of certain issues, but they got potential. So these are some of the approaches, okay, for us to find the candidates, okay, of what we call the future crops. Right? Even if you want, even for the sake of plant breeding and genetic engineering, you still need the genetic resources. So where do you get the genetic resources? Again, from the wild species or from the underutilized crops. Okay, because if you look at breeding process or genetic engineering process, okay, where you keep breeding the same line, okay, of clone or varieties, over the time they will have what we call the inbreeding problem. Okay, just like why human cannot marry between siblings, because we will have abnormalities, defect. That's what we call the deterioration of genetic markers. Okay, inbreeding. Just like your cats at home. If you got domestic cats, some people they want to keep the bloodline of the cat pure, so they will keep marrying in between siblings or cross back to fathers, cross back to mothers with the cats. At the end of the day, the cat will have a very low immunity, will have some defect, okay, we have a lot of abnormalities. That's what we call a genetic inbreeding. Okay, the genetic marker will deteriorate. So over time, even our rice, okay, from time to time, when it reaches a point where the genetic pool, okay, is very close to each other, they cannot cross anymore, then you need to go back and find another candidate to cross them. You need to find maybe wild species or from underutilized crop. I mean, distant relative, okay, to improve back the genetic pools. And I think in terms of human, our genetic pool is rapidly increasing. Because if you look in the modern world nowadays, people are cross-marrying each other. Okay, before in the old time, people just marry. In our great-grandfather's time, they just marry between their distant relative in the village, the same village. But nowadays, with all the transportation systems and so on, look at our parents' generation, they start marrying across the state. Isn't it? From Kelantan, with Selangor, maybe Kedah with Johor. But look at our generation now. Because we are global citizens. Some of you might end up marrying our friend from Africa, from China, our friend from Arabic countries. That is the next generation of the world. With this mixed marriage, human genetic pool might become stronger. How about the crops? Okay, to make them stronger, from time to time we need to cross them. Okay, with a wild relative or a distant relative, maybe in the underutilized crop. Okay, so that is about future crops. Okay, toward the future. But then there's also another concept out there. The concept of superfood. Okay, not only the existing plant, like the existing rice, maize, and corn need to be improved through through some technologies or approaches that we discussed before. But maybe we need to find a new type of food altogether, which is like superfood. Okay, there is a concept called as superfood, meaning that a food that is taken in small amount but have a very rich in nutrient, meaning that you just eat a little but enough. Okay, so some people are thinking about superfood toward the future. There's no point in improving the crop through plant breeding. There's no point in genetic engineering. Let's get rid of the conventional crop altogether. No more rice in the future. No more nasi kandar. Okay, no more rice with chicken, with fishes, with vegetable. Maybe our diet in the future totally different type of diet. No more meat for the Chinese. Let's get rid of conventional food, like find superfood, something that you eat only once, like a pills. But before we go to pills, now people talking about superfood, like superfoods. Maybe instead of taking, one spoon of vegetables, fried vegetables, maybe you just need one. Okay, maybe 1 inch of a highly nutritious vegetable, not enough. Maybe from eating a slice of fruits, maybe you just need one. Okay, so now people are also looking for superfood. And so many crops have been claimed to be superfood. Some people claim guarana, some people claim acai berry, and so on. And this is the trend. If you Google superfood or superfruit, a lot of things will pop up. Some people say that you need to eat quinoa, like our previous prime minister. It's superfood. You just eat a little. Maybe this is the answer. Superfood like Superman. So, what do you think? Okay. Looking at the scenario, the previous topic, is there any candidates of superfruits and superfood or future food or future crops in our surrounding? So that is the task for today. I want you to explore on future crops and superfood. Pick one for each of you. A candidate, maybe for underutilized crop before or a new crop that you think have the chance or potential to be a superfood. Maybe the secret is in your grandma's kitchen. Who knows? All right. So find a topic, a crop that you think, and make some search about food or crops that can become the future crop or superfood, and back your suggestion. Okay. So maybe you're gonna find any in the next Wonder Food or Wonder Woman or future crops or future crops superfood. I think that's for today. Any question, everyone? Please open your camera so that we can discuss better. I'm tired of being an alien. So any questions? Yuki, Lee?
No question, Doctor.
No question? So you want question from me?
No need, thank you.
No need. All right, Atika, where are you? You are on the sky.
Yes, doctor.
You are fasting and go to heaven right away.
No,
Okay, very
doctor.
good. Very good. So any question, guys? Anything you want to ask? So our topic today is about future crops. Okay, inside it, you've got superfood, superfruits, and maybe there are other terms out there. So explore on this topic and pick one, okay, that you think have the potential to be the future crops, and keep it for you. It doesn't matter you want to write it or not, okay, but find some info on future crop, a candidate for future crop. Okay, so maybe either I will ask you to just submit it, maybe you just submit it first, okay, in the Google Drive, all right? So class rep, create a folder for this and put all the information. The format is up to you, videos or whatever. But maybe there's one day I will ask you to present, maybe sometime, or to discuss. Okay? So any questions?
Doctor,
Yes.
I just want to the clarification. So we have two things, right? We have to find the future crops, and the other one is a superfood and make it into the PowerPoint presentation. Is it right?
You just need to find one. Okay? The future crop could be superfood. Okay? Or could be, I don't know, maybe you will find something new coming in, I don't know. Okay? Because superfood is actually an example of future crops. Okay, but I don't know, maybe there's another term, alien food, I don't know. Okay? Maybe you will create your own term for us, and then you will win Nobel Prize for us. Who knows, isn't it? Okay, maybe Timothy want to find something new and coin a new term for us. Timothy, any ideas?
Doctor, I just want to ask, is this future crop limited only on food crops?
No, it don't limit to food crop only. Okay, so you are free to explore in agrobiodiversity, meaning that you can go to industrial crops or other commodity like protein source, fishes, cattle. You can go up to that also if you want to. Okay, or ornamental fish. Maybe it's because it's a big industry, because this is agrobiodiversity general. Okay, the code is AGR. Okay, all right, but of course it is advisable for horticulture students to look at, horticulture crop. But it's okay if you want to explore a little bit more. Okay, but for biotech people, go crazy. I don't know. Maybe you're looking at new corona. Maybe you want to kill the world again, right? You want to find a super future corona. I don't know. Okay, maybe you want to be the next villains of the world, because it's a commodity. The virus is a big industry because we use virus, okay, to create our antibody. All right. So it's okay. Maybe ornamental cats. Maybe you're talking about future pets. All right. Okay, yes, who wants to be lonely? Maybe, I don't know, this is modern world, right? Maybe some of you won't get married. You don't like the concept of marriage. Some people don't like the concept of marriage anymore. So you want to grow old alone, be a crazy scientist, maybe you want to have a pet cat. But hundreds years from now, the cat might not be a real cat, isn't it? It might be, I don't know, cyborg cat or soul cat. I don't know. Sarvesh, anything you want to add?
No, doctor, I'm okay.
You okay? You are in the sky
Yeah.
already.
Yeah, I'm
You
in
are
the
almost
galaxy.
swallowed by the black holes. All right. Any questions, Sofita?
No, doctor.
So are you at home?
Doctor,
Yeah, Aisha. Aisha, you want to say anything? Go ahead.
the superfood is limited in Malaysia or can be
Okay, it could be from anywhere. I cannot hear you clearly. It could be from anywhere all over the world. But of course, I always love native crops. Okay, native means something special, exotic, endemic. Okay, maybe in China you get some special plants that the world never see yet. Okay, but of course you can use any crop. But remember, guys, this is 4,000 level courses. If you just Google it and give me something out of the internet, something that easily be found by primary school children, then you got trouble, man. Find something exquisite and explore give me something that's befitting a 4,000 level courses. So, but it could be anything. Is that clear, guys? And ladies, who else here? We've got a lot of people here. We've got 27. Ifa Shah. Can you open your camera? So, please open your camera, guys. I miss looking at people. Nur Balkis, anything you want to ask or you want to add on or you want to share? She's thinking deep, up to the point that she's frozen. Who else here? Let me check the name. Nurin Liana, are you there? Yeah. So anything you want to share?
No.
And we got, okay. I think almost everyone's here. Ashraf, where's Ashraf?
Yes, Doctor.
Ada apa-apa? Anything you want to share to our friends here? Or you want to ask?
I think no, Doctor.
Okay. I think everyone is thinking about the super bazaar, isn't it? Okay. The super eye balang today. All right. What are the super food for your super tummy today? All right. So if there's nothing, yeah. Class rep, have you been contacted by someone? Because we are going to have a mini project, a special assignment. Okay. And this special assignment or mini project will be combined with other classes, which is exotic crop, and then we will combine it with another entity. So we will call a meeting. We will have, those who have taken my class, you will know that I love something a bit nonsense and crazy. We have a Barium Festival. We have all sort of thing festival. We used to have Agrobiodiversity Day. Yeah. So this year we're going to have another, something to annoy you. So we have a mini project. Okay. But we will tell you about the mini project later because we'll have a discussion first. Okay. We just get ready for it. All right. But no problem. It's something that's just to make you go crazy a little bit. But I think it's going to be fun. It should be fun. Okay. All right. Xing Liu, anything you want to say? Well, I can only see your head, your forehead.
No, Doctor.
See, you got nice mustache. Okay, it's very rare. Is it real or is it fake?
Yeah, real.
Real. Oh, okay. So mature. Okay. So Xing Liu got a nice mustache there. Okay, Xing Ting wants to see you. You know. All right. So I think if there's nothing more, I think that's all for today. Be safe on the road on your way to bazaar. Okay. Make sure you watch the SOP. Okay. But if you got the chance, not bazaar, go to shopping mall and dates. Okay, find a proper restaurant with a proper SOPs. Okay, and make sure if you go to bazaar, do not fight. Okay, make sure you respect the pregnant ladies and do not fight with the chef. Okay, if you cannot afford to buy something, do not make it viral. Okay, all right. So I think that's all. Don't create any issues. Stay cool, stay calm, and stay safe. So with that, I thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good evening. Bye-bye, guys.
Thank you, Doctor.
All right.
Thank you, Doctor.
And-
Better.